This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.
Yes, welcome to Race in Action Today. We're here this week to cover the action from the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance, featuring great classic cars, vintage race cars, one-offs, yachts, and motorcycles. From the brass era on all the way up to today's supercars. Also, as an added attraction, there'll be a 3-day regatta of America's Cup 12-meter yachts. And boy, I'll tell you, if you don't think that's a full weekend, you better think twice about it. I think it's time to grab yourself a comfortable chair and relax. We're about to see what the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance is all about and the people who make it happen.
Yes, we're going to be covering in this segment of the show bigger classic cars, kind of dedicate the show to them. Packards will be in this segment, and believe me, they made some real special cars in the 1930s. There's this big sedan here. You could just imagine driving this car has got to be a real treat. And also, they did make sportier cars too. The convertibles and the bigger Phaetons and special bodied cars were really part of their history, and it's quite interesting to talk to the owners of these cars, because every one of them, believe me, has a storied past. And we're about to talk to the owner of this absolutely gorgeous convertible.
Yes, we have Jim Murphy with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1937 Packard. And I'll tell you, Jim, this car is stunning.
Thank you.
And I got a feeling you know a few things about it.
Yes, I do. It's a V12 model, 1937. It's a 139-inch wheelbase, 473 cubic inch displacement, 12-cylinder engine. And it gets about 8 to 9 miles to the gallon.
But it has to be a joy to drive.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. A lot of fun.
Now, did they sell many of these in that time frame?
And that year they sold, I think, 59 of them, and there's probably maybe 8 to a dozen left.
Yeah, now, have you owned this car long?
I've had this about 4 years.
Yeah, this car is just stunning, I'll tell you. The color scheme and, it's just, it stands out. That's all I could tell you. Now, have you come to this event often?
First time I was at this event, I brought a 1927 Chris Craft speedboat. Mm-hmm. This is the first time with a car.
Oh yeah. At some point, I got to get over to the boats. It's always interesting, nice. To look at them. But this car is stunning, and I'm sure you're going to do well with this car. And I have to commend you on keeping it in the way you do.
Oh, thank you very much. It's fun. It's fun to polish it.
Well, we're going to certainly watch out to see how you do with it, but I think you're going to have more fun than anything else today.
Oh, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Come here and have fun. See all these other cars.
Absolutely. It's just a joy to come here.
Yes, I really enjoy it.
Thank you for your interview, and good luck today.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, Jim.
Bye.
Now, how special was this 1937 Packard V12? Boy, I'll tell you, this car was just gorgeous. Just when you thought you saw the most prettiest car in the world, another one pops up.
Yes, we have Robert Briglia with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1933 Packard. And I got a feeling you know a few things about this car, Robert.
I've had it 45 years. It was originally owned by Dwight Morrow, who was a big corporate lawyer in New York City for SO Standard in New York. He was a Rockefeller lawyer. Mm-hmm. He was involved in Radio City development. He was an ambassador to Mexico. He was a U.S. senator. and he owned his car, but mostly his daughter was Ann Morrow, who was Charles Lindbergh's wife.
So, yeah, he's got kind of a famous little history here.
Yes, he does, yes. In fact, at the trial, the Bruno Hauptmann trial in Flemington, there's a picture that I have where this car is parked in front of the courthouse.
Wow. Is that something special?
Yeah, yes it is. And I've had it 45 years. It's been restored for about 37, 38 years. And I've been showing it. Been here to Greenwich at least 3 times, 4 times maybe. I lose track. But it's been a lot of fun.
Now tell me, how was this car? It was built in Europe, this car?
Yes, it was. The Morrows were very friendly with the Darren family, and Dutch Darren, who at the time, being the Depression, there was no business here, so he went to Paris, where he hooked up with a fellow by the name of Fernandez that was a banker, and he built cars in Paris. So this car, the chassis, cowl, and engine were shipped to Paris, and then he built the body on it. It does have a lot of Packard parts, a lot of them retooled, reshaped, and a couple little things that aren't exactly correct, which have been people have challenged over the years. But essentially, when it's a special built car, special bodied car, you can put pretty much anything you want that he wanted to do.
Yeah. Now the engine, it's a 12-cylinder.
V12, yes. This is the same engine that during World War II they put 2 in a tank, 2 in a PT boat, and Packard, of course, were commissioned to make Merlin engines, Rolls-Royce engines, and they made many of those.
Boy, that's an interesting. I've never realized that. That's kind of interesting.
Yes, and Packard.
So they were reliable engines.
Very, very reliable automobiles, and if you look in a classic car magazine or the roster, you'll see there's more Packards than anything to survive World War II because they were the finest automobiles. And unfortunately, after the war, they got into diversification, bought Crosley refrigeration and this and that, and went broke.
I know it's hard to envision that somebody who probably built the best cars in the world would go out of business.
That's right. That's right. Same thing's happening to General Motors.
Yeah. I have to. We've got firsthand what's going on there, and I'll tell you, the car is gorgeous. Now they couldn't have made many of this particular.
This is a one of one.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking. This is a one-off.
He actually only made. There's only about 5, maybe 6. There's been always a question about another one, but no. Over the 40 years that I've had this car, well, since 45 or 65, it's more than that. 45 years, I've never seen another. They said there was another Packard, but I've never seen it. At Amelia Island a few years back, there was the Duesenberg was there. Buick was there, and this car was there. That was 3 out of the 5 were at one show.
Wow.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, I imagine so. This, I love the color combination, and I could tell you keep it pristine.
Lots of polishing.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more polishing than driving.
I drive it around where I live. It's as good as it looks, it drives better.
I bet. I surely you'll love to park it in my garage. That I'll tell you.
I have a special garage for it, heated.
Yeah, I believe that. We want to thank you for the time you spent with us. We certainly enjoyed every car here. It's just a special thing. We know you're going to do well here at the show, but I think you're going to have more fun.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Robert. You were excellent. Great job, too. This car is gorgeous. Yes, we have Herb Castle with us, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1936 Auburn. And I got a feeling, Herb, you know a little bit about this car. What model is it?
It's a Model 852. It's a 1936, and there's about 50 of them left. And they're kind of rare cars.
Now, which engine does this have?
This has a Lycoming straight 8, what they call a flathead. Mm-hmm. And this was the last one they made, this particular engine. And there's, as far as I know, there's less than, in 1936 they stopped production on these cars, and this is one of the last 6 cars they made.
Now, did you restore this car yourself?
Yes, I did a 100% nut and bolt restoration on this car.
How long did it take?
I bought this car in '83, and I took quite a few years to restore it. But I've done 6 of these cars.
Really? Do you have of Auburns?
6 Auburns I've restored.
Wow, that's better than money in the bank.
Well, yeah, they are. They're collector's cars. They're what they call a full classic.
Now, this car, is it, I mean, did they make a lot of these cars or no?
No, there wasn't that many made. I'm not sure there's actual production on them, but in 1936, like I said, there was only 6 of these cars made. This body style here.
Is the color pretty much what it was, or is this something new?
Well, color's all 100% original on this car. This car is, as far as I know, every nut and bolt is original on this car. It's got 3 best of shows with the Auburn Court Duesenberg Club, and many awards from small clubs around.
Now, where are you from, Herb?
We're from Carmel, Connecticut.
Wow, so this is like not far away from home, huh?
A little ride down here.
Now, do you go to many shows in the area, or do you go all over the country?
No, I go pretty much, mostly all the Auburn Court Duesenberg meets. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go to a lot of little shows around town or stuff, but mostly, d'elegant shows and, shows like that.
You never take it to the West Coast at all?
No.
Because this kind of a car is, I get out there, it's kind of a big deal with this type of a car.
Yes, correct.
Well, I'll tell you, you have to be commended. The car is gorgeous. You've done an outstanding job, and I know you're going to have some fun here.
Yeah, well, I did all the restoration myself on it, so it makes it kind of special,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it isn't something I bought in this way, and but when you do it yourself, you respect it a lot more, and it's something you say you did yourself,
Absolutely. I know the feeling. It's always the automobile hobby is alive and well.
That's right. Bring a kid to a car show, and eventually we'll get some more, hobbyists into the collections here.
We want to thank you for your interview and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
My
Herbie.
pleasure.
You were great.
Okay, thank you.
The car is beautiful. Yes, we have Richard Exposito here with us, who holds this beautiful 1938 LaSalle convertible. And I'll tell you, I got a feeling you may know a few things about this car, Rich. What do you think of that?
What you do. Once you get into them, if you don't know anything, when you're done with them, you know a heck of a lot.
Know everything about them.
Oh, yeah, you get to be expert pretty fast. You find out how many people don't know anything about them, and when you're done, I'm not mechanically inclined, but you get to be pretty expert. Into Corvettes, LaSalle's, Cadillacs, anything. You get to know your own cars pretty well into them. And
now, did you pick this car specifically, or was it just a car you just came across?
Well, my late wife, we had a 40 convertible, and she wanted to have a car for fun. It was a high-point car. Mm-hmm. And this came about within the club, and we went with hay rides and drove around. It was a nice car, but it wasn't a high-point car. So I took it to my body shop. There was a few minor things in it. And I went there a month later, and he had the body apart, and I wanted to murder him. He says, I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, you have other cars." And I says, "This was supposed to be a driver," and all that. Well, that 9 years on and off and all that, and I'm glad I did it, but I would never do it again because things got misplaced and all. And she passed away before I finished it, and we had a lot of fun with the 40. Mm-hmm. But this one here, I went all the way with it, and I did the detail work. It doesn't take much brains, because we have a wonderful club. We have 7,000 members in our club and a lot of input on things, and they're very free with information. And the color was mine. It was originally black, but our club tolerates a color change as long as it was available that year. Mm-hmm. And, I just liked it, and that's the way it was, It's the thing about it. And the reason I would have bought one. I would have bought one restored, but she told me to buy one. I said, "There's only 12 left." He said, I know every owner, and they won't part with them, you know?
Yeah, that's what usually happens. And I find in our travels that the people have specific cars because they were intentionally looking for that car. And I'm sure this was kind of the same way. And the car is gorgeous, I'll tell you. I like the color combination.
Thank you.
You did an excellent job. And I'll tell you something, Rich. I got a feeling you're going to have some fun here this weekend, too.
I am. You got guys like you come around and everything. This is what the hobby's about. You care, you come around, you take the time, to do the thing. And plus the different people and different cars, it's a nice hobby. I just love it. My older brother says I'm nuts. He got me into it after the war and hung around the car lot and all that. And he says, you were doing it when you're 8, 9 years old. He says, I says, well, people bowl and golf and all that, and that's wonderful. But
I got news for you. I think this is a better investment than putting money in the bank.
I've never lost. People say it's a money hobby, but I've always come out. Not made a lot of money, but I've had pleasure, and I've always come out. I've always come out of it, and we passed up some cars, and like everybody else, we had ones, but you can't have everything, and 6 to me is enough. I feel like a lot boy on the car lot. I do my own cleaning and everything, I walk around them every morning. I can't cover them up. Even here, I walk around them and wipe them down.
Absolutely. That's why you got it. You got it to enjoy it.
That's the way it is. I can't get it out of it. I'm getting older and I like them more. I don't know what it is. And the people in the hobby, there's some really great people that make the hobby the way it is.
Absolutely. This is just great. I know you're going to have some fun, and we have to commend you. You've certainly done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
And I got a feeling we'll be talking to you down the road.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Thanks
Very
for stopping
good.
by.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, we have Paul Etheridge, who owns this absolutely gorgeous 1938 Oldsmobile convertible. And I have a feeling this car is kind of a rare car, Paul. Am I thinking right?
Yes, it is. First of all, it's one of the few with the automatic transmission for that year. They called it a semi-automatic. You clutched in low, and then after that, it went into high by itself.
Wow.
And in this particular car, it has 35,000 original miles. The only thing that's been done to it is one repaint in 1990. Everything else is original.
Wow. How long have you owned this car?
We've had this since 1997. And previous to that, it was Minky, I think. There was a museum, or a chap, Minky, that had it in a museum for many years. And the original dealer in Ohio kept it, he used it, and then he just kept it on the side.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't see him often. Do you know what the production numbers were on this car?
To be honest, no. All I know is that someone last year at Meadowbrook told me there was only about 3 or 7 that he knew in existence with the automatic transmission.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a rare thing, and that's got to be really not an easy thing to work on, too, I imagine.
Unfortunately, we haven't had to do any work on it.
But I can't get over that mileage, so it's kind of been, in a museum, you think, most of its life?
Yeah, it was in a museum most of its life, and then it went to Ontario, where a collector had it, and we bought it at auction in 1997 in Toronto.
Well, I'll tell you, we have to commend you. The car is absolutely gorgeous. I love the color combination, and I got a feeling you're going to have some fun here this week.
It's nice. We came down from Montreal. This is the second time we've brought the car out. Last year we took it to Meadowbrook. Mm-hmm. And and we're getting great weather so far, so keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we want to make sure the rain gods don't visit us.
That's right. And it's raining in Montreal today, so I'm really happy.
That's even a better thought. Well, we want to thank you for your interview, and we have to commend you. The car is gorgeous, and I think you're going to do very well here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks a lot.
You were great.
Thanks.
Now, how special is this? A 1938 Oldsmobile convertible with an automatic transmission and real low original miles. I mean, this car is really got to be rare. I think it's the first time I have ever seen one, and it is beautiful.
Yes, we have Anthony Puma, who owns this beautiful Packard, 1936. I got a feeling you know a few things about this car, Anthony.
A little bit. I've had it now for about 10 years. I bought it from a man that down in Pennsylvania that lovingly restored it, but it's a very much of an amateur restoration. it's not one of the fancy Packards. This was the Packard that was to compete with Buick, and it's the lower price model car.
So what model would it be?
It's a Model 995. That's the model. It means it's a sport coupe, which means it has it's a coupe with a rumble seat. But it's also known as Packard 120, which is they came in many different styles.
Now, is this a straight 8?
It's an inline 8, 282 cubic inch engine.
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard a lot of great things about Packard cars, and they certainly have a great following. I mean, when you go back to the time frame, these cars were really a hot car as far as, I mean, not anybody could just own one of these cars. They were kind of more of a business person's car, if I remember right.
They were much higher end cars, and they were custom built cars by Packard, but then they came out with the 120, and the 120 was an assembly line car, more of a mass-produced car, and this was a car for the masses. They used to advertise it in 1936, saying that, like, they used to show the car and say, like father, like son. The father would have the high-end Packard, and the son now can afford this car. And this was more to compete with, like, such lines as, like, Buick and Cadillac, but
right?
Correct.
Yeah, they were great cars. It's hard to envision, that they went out of business. But when you think of the great cars they built for so many years.
True. I tend to curse Studebaker for that.
Yeah, well, everyone sometimes makes the wrong decision or whatever, but I know that the cars, that the history of Packard is extremely well documented.
I'm very proud to own it. I feel that it's a piece of history. I feel that it's a remarkably well-made car. A car in 1936 car can comfortably cruise on a highway at 70 miles an hour. And it's a remarkable thing, to own.
Absolutely. They're a heavy car, solid car.
And I'm proud to be at the show. I get to really be in the presence of some wonderful people and wonderful cars and cars that are, in my opinion, just so much further and past my car. It's a pleasure. I feel that I'm here because the car fits a piece of history. But compared to the cars here, that it's a lovely car, but it's really nothing that special.
Well, we're certainly going to wish you luck here today.
I appreciate
but I know most importantly you're going to have some fun.
I do. I bought it to drive it. I bought it to enjoy it. I love to take my girlfriend out and buy ice cream in it.
Well, thanks a lot, and
my pleasure.
And good luck.
You so
and
much.
I'm sure we'll be talking again sometime.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a
Enjoy.
lot. Thanks, Anthony.
Well, we decided to take a little walk around the grounds, and as you could see, the Host Hotel here in Greenwich was just outstanding, and we were taking in the classic boats that were coming in and out and moored at the dock. I mean, this Greenwich Concours d'Elegance is just a very special event, and I hope everybody gets a chance to come on out to see this event. It's the first weekend in June every year, and I'll tell you, I have not been disappointed yet. And now I also want to talk a little bit about the next segment of the show that's going to air shortly, probably in a week or so after this one. Here's a kind of a special vehicle that I'm not going to really say at this time what this vehicle is, but believe me, it has a history that is just unbelievable. There's some insignias on there that I'm sure you recognize, and believe me, the thing was really restored to a beautiful condition. And tune in the next show to see what this vehicle is all about.
Yes, we come to the conclusion of our show today, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it as much as we did producing it. It's sure been an outstanding event here at the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance, and I want to thank our crew, Billy Majak, Dwayne Cody, David Seilinger, for all the great work they do. And last of all, and most of all, I want to thank you, the viewers, for being with us on Racing Action Today. This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Special thanks to the Racing Action Today crew: Dwayne Cody, Billy Majak, David Seidlinger, Lisa Backus, and Luis Gonzalez. Also, we want to thank our home station, Nutmeg TV, for all their support.